Hello everyone. Probably no one ever know about these little cars, but I got a 2006 Suzuki Aerio. I have the engine and transmission in this car, and I can go ahead and tell you, easiest. Well, hold on, I'll take it back. It's not that hard to do, especially not in house. If you're doing it at your house or anything. But I'm gonna go ahead and run you through because I know probably no one. I haven't seen anyone do a little tutorial about how to pull one of these engines or how to take a transmission out. So they're gonna be multiple parts. First, you start with your wiring. You know, you got your coil packs. You know, you can take what I did. I took these off. Took this hose off, and it lets you allow you to take fuel injectors. You lay them to the side. I laid the whole rail to the side. Probably nobody does it like me, but hey. But I went on ahead and unplugged my O2 sensors and my knock sensor right here, and I went on ahead and disconnect the compressor. I get up under and show a little bit better. You can leave your intake and all this on. This is how I did it. Remove your vacuum hose. A couple of connectors up here. You have one in the back. You have one close to your transmission. You're probably not gonna be able to see it from right here. And remove all your hoses and stuff. You got two heater core hoses, one right here and one right here. Radiator hose. Engine mount is tucked up underneath the airbox. You take the whole airbox out. You have in the back, you have a couple of sensors. You have this little sensor on the top of the power steering. You're probably not gonna be able to see it. If you see where my hand is pointing to, right there, you have the hose right here. You have to take off right there with the little clamp. You have to take this. I think this is a 22. I'm not positive though. Throttle body control. You lay it all to the side. And honestly, I would advise if you're pulling it through the top, take it for radiating fans out. I messed up, and that's why I had to buy a brand new radiator. I get up underneath. So from up underneath, my phone kind of blurry. I'm sorry, guys. You have your lower radiator hose, transmission lines, which I would, if you're taking the radiator out, I would 100% recommend you take the radiator out. You got your catalytic converters. Catalytic converters, you got one bolt right here. I think these are 14s all the way around. You don't have to take your belt off, but once you take your compressor off, you can just slide your belt onto the side, pull it out with it. Not too big of a deal. You got this huge cross member right here. You have 14s right here. These two have to come out. You have two right here. And what I did when I took it out, I didn't take these out. I loosened them from these two, and these two right here. You cannot get to this one. I have tried every single trick. I cannot get to this bolt. So what I did, I unbolted it from right here, unloosened these two bolts, and let this rock back and forth. Because when you rock it back and forth, it's kind of a little bit more simpler. Once you take this off, you have a bracket up underneath. It's a little cover right here. This is the access for your bell housing bolts because the starter sits all the way in the back. I might do a tutorial about that too, but you have two brackets. You got a transmission bracket and transaxle bracket and a mounting bracket for the block. You have two bolts, then both for 14s in the back. For this pipe right here, I didn't have the pipe, so I had to cut it because it was so rusty. So I had to cut it on out. Once you do that, you can lean your transaxle to the side, unbolt your motor mount from the top, unbolt this one too because you have two bolts in here. They're both 14s also. These are both 14s in here, and them transaxle bolts. But basically everything on this car is 14s. It makes it kind of easier. Most of these bolts are 14s, and it's kind of a little bit more simpler too. Once you get those out, the torque converter bolts out, you really don't have to do much unless you have a stud on the top. I'll go back to where the stud is, and this makes it very hard. You have a bolt. You have one bell housing bolt right here. If we can focus, my phone can focus. Right here, you have a bell housing bolt right here. One up underneath this bracket, which is very difficult to get to, but you can get to it once this is a loose. Once you get this a loose, it makes the job a whole lot easier. Let me show you what a stud is. You have a stud. Now I switched it out to the bolt because I got this motor out of a manual, but that is a bolt right there. Yeah, right there. That may have a stud. If you have a stud, this job is gonna get a whole hella difficult. Excuse my language. Basically, if you do have this stud here, it's no way you can physically jack this motor up with this stud. If you don't, thank God you don't, because it makes the job a whole lot easier. All you have to do is, once you get all them bolts loose and the mount bolts can come out. These right here, these mounts come out with it, and you take your hood off, and the whole engine will rise through the top. If you don't, it'll still come the same way. But you will have to take this transmission bracket off to get to it. And yes, the whole transmission will fall back. You will have to figure out or have a second person or a jack to help you hold it. But I would prefer, trust me, and I have did this before, make sure you put a jack up under here, because I did not do that, and all hell on me, all things almost happened. But for the transmission removal, so simple. You can do this in your sleep. I really don't I'm not even gonna really talk too much about it. I'm just gonna say you got your 19 transmission lines right here. Same way when you're taking the motor out, you have to do your bell housing, torque converter, take your starter out. You don't have to take the starter all the way out, you can just leave it to the back. You have 3 sensors at the top you have to disconnect, and you call it a day. It's that simple. It's very easy to take this transmission out, and transaxle, you may gotta come out. I ain't really have to take the axles out. I only had to pop them out for the transmission, but I left them in the hub. It's like this one right here is in the hub still. I ain't touch it. And yeah, it's not hard, man. I swear to God. Whoever have a Suzuki aerio, y'all can do it. No problem. And I think I'm gonna end this video right here. I'll give y'all a second when it comes.